first of all, what do you think about Pinterest opening its doors to the public? On one hand, you might wonder what took so long. On the other, it's sort of like, why now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a great move. But honestly, I think like from a product perspective, I don't even think that that was their biggest asset. I really, as a user, have always admired how well the onboarding process was and how easy it was just to be introduced to people you sort of already knew as part of the onboarding process with, you know, seeing your Facebook friends and being able to already kind of get your interests right from the get-go. So I don't even think that the invite-only aspect of their growth was really their sort of secret sauce. So I think it's interesting, but I don't think that it was the most viral aspect of their product.
Now, you guys have found interesting trends on growth. On the one hand, you say traffic is going to increase. It could surpass Yahoo next month. On the other, you're finding that growth is actually slowing down on Pinterest, that between May and June, traffic grew more than 43%. Between June and July, grew just 16%. What does that say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, you know, there was a massive spike, and we're going to continue to sort of monitor these trends. So really we started to pay extra close attention to this at the beginning of the year. With our January traffic report, we found that it surpassed Google+, LinkedIn, and YouTube referral traffic combined. So that really stood out to us. And then a little bit later on, we found that in February, it surpassed Twitter. Now, a couple months later, it dropped a little bit, and Twitter took over Pinterest share of referral traffic again. But then, you know, later in June, it took over not only Twitter, but also Bing and Google referral traffic. So it's been a fun ride to watch, and being able to, you know, track these traffic trends from, you know, like you mentioned in the introduction, 200,000 websites reaching 300 million people each month. It's a pretty massive data set to pull from. So it's definitely interesting to watch these spikes and these, you know, kind of a roller coaster here. But we are seeing so far this month that actually Pinterest is beating the Yahoo organic traffic just slightly. Right now, Yahoo organic traffic is at 1.38%, and Pinterest Pinterest traffic is at 1.42%. So it is slight, but again, when you're basing these small percentages based on the page views, you can imagine that are, you know, based on unique monthly visitors, 300 million. It is pretty significant, even those small percentages.
So the traffic is there, even though it may be bouncing around a bit. On the other hand, they're raising money. Reports that their recent valuation, $1.5 billion, but they're driving traffic, but not necessarily revenue. How do they make money?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So they are you know, they have made money with the skim links thing. I think that they really have a potential to do so many different things with it. And I guess like I see that potential sort of as a marketer and as, you know, someone who I'm looking at these different traffic trends, but also the the difference between the traffic trends, but then also sort of where they're at in comparison to other sites with the social sharing aspect. They're not even in our top 15 services for social sharing. Other services like StumbleUpon, Reddit, and Google Plus are beating them for share of top services to share to. So what that kind of tells me is that actually that there are like influencers on Pinterest, and that most of the pins are being driven by a smaller percentage of them. And so people are clicking on these pins, and it's sort of like a smaller percentage. And so I think that there's really like some cool programs that could be done as far as, you know, maybe sponsored boards, branded content, you know, maybe sponsored boards for, you know, kind of the way that we do sponsored tweets, and it could be really interesting.